Hey, what to do, sports world, and welcome to the Real Untouchable Podcast with me, Ray Diggs. I got a great segment for you all. I want to discuss who is the best one-loss team in college football right now. Yes, who is the best one-loss team in college football right now? Is it Alabama? Is it Oregon? Is it Texas? Maybe even Louisville. But I'm not going to discuss Louisville. I want to talk about the first three teams. But listen, before I get started, hey, listen, make sure y'all hit the like button, the subscribe button, and also the share button. Give me your feedback. Tell me what you like, what you dislike about this segment. Okay? Hey, it costs 0 cents to just hit the like button. I promise you. Just hit the like button. I promise you. Hey, and give me your feedback. Hey, but let's go ahead and jump into this thing, man. College football is getting down to the end. It's getting down to the nitty gritty. It's getting down to the college football playoff time. As you all know, the BC, well, not the BCS, but the college football playoff picture is starting to take shape. We got 5 undefeated teams. But what I want to talk about is who is the best one-loss team right now in college football. And I'm going to make my point. I'm going to break down these 3 teams. And I'm going to give you all my unbiased answer on who is the best one-loss team right now in college football. I'm going to give you all their resumes. First, I want to start off with the Alabama Crimson Tide, the Tides. Man, listen, Nick Saban got another one. I think Nick Saban and this team has finally figured it out. They got themselves a quarterback in Jalen Milroe. Yes, they have lost one game. They lost that one game at home. Okay, this right here, I'm going to give you all Alabama's resume. The Alabama Crimson Tide has played one of the hardest schedules in college football. They have the number 2, listen, the number 2 hardest schedule in college football. I looked at every website. This team right here have a top 3, top 4 strength of schedule this year. This right here is one of the hardest. This team has faced a lot of hard teams in a row. The last easy team they faced maybe was the first game of the season, because the second game they played Texas. Okay, their key losses was against number 11 Texas. That was a big loss. They lost to them 34-24. I feel like Jalen Milroe at quarterback was just figuring it out. It was only his second start, because they went against South Florida the next week and they barely won that game. Even Jalen Milroe didn't even play that game. He was benched that game. Now he has started to figure it out. And now I think Alabama is starting to become a complete team now. Now, that's their key loss. Now, their key wins are versus number 15 Ole Miss, in which they defeated Ole Miss, versus number 17 Tennessee, and versus number 14, which was a couple weeks ago, LSU, in which they beat LSU. Okay, now these are their key wins with a strength of schedule as the number 2 hardest schedule in college football. The Alabama Crimson Tide, that is their resume. Now let's go down into the Oregon Ducks. The Oregon Ducks are one-loss team as well. Their only loss was at number 7 Washington, in which they could have easily won that game. Bad coaching was the reason they lost that game. They have the number 12 hardest schedule in college football, meaning they have the 12th strength of schedule. They have the number 12. The only key loss they have was at number 7 Washington. Now, their key win was against number 19 Colorado. At the time, they was maybe a little overrated, but listen, at the time they was number 19. They beat number 13 Utah. Now, this right here without Cam Rising, their starting quarterback. Now, I'm not gonna hold that against them, but it was without their starting quarterback, which was Cam Rising. And they still have a game against Oregon State, which will be the last game of the season. If they can make it to that game with the only one loss. Is that harder than the Alabama schedule? If that's harder, is that a better resume than the Alabama resume? I'll get to that in a minute. Now let's go down to the Texas Longhorns. The Texas Longhorns. Now, They have the number 5 hardest schedule in college football. Now that's a very hard schedule. They went to Alabama. Their key win was at Alabama, in which they defeated Alabama at home in Tuscaloosa. They beat number 4 Kansas. Number 24 Kansas and number 23 Kansas State. Okay, now their key loss was in the Red River Shootout against number 12 Oklahoma. Let's talk about Oklahoma for a second. Oklahoma just lost to a 2-loss Oklahoma State team. Oklahoma State was just blasted by UCF last weekend. They was blasted by UCF 45-3. Now, it's that right there is a hard schedule. Now we're going to go strength of schedule, key wins, and then key losses. Like I said, when it comes to Alabama, right? Alabama, their key loss was against Texas. Second game of the season. Since then, they have beat the number 15 team, the number 17 team, and the number 14 team. And they just went to Lexington and beat a very, very, very good Kentucky Wildcat team. Their strength of schedule is number 2. Oregon Ducks, their key loss at Washington. Their key wins, Colorado, number 19 Colorado at the time, number 13 Utah, and then they still got to play against number 12 Oregon State. And they have the number 12 strength of schedule. Texas, they key wins was at Alabama, number 24 Kansas, number 23 Kansas State. Now they're going to still, and the thing about these 3 teams is they're going to get a chance to play in their, most likely, their conference championship. Now let's talk about the conference championship. Alabama will meet Georgia. Georgia going to most likely be number 1 or number 2. Let's talk about Oregon. Oregon going to most likely meet Washington. Washington is going to be top 5, top 4 at least. Top 4, maybe number 4. And then Texas will probably, Texas, they're not going to meet a really, really good team because Oklahoma flamed out on them. So we're going to knock Texas out of it. If Alabama can win out and they win the SEC championship game, Alabama will be the number 1. They will be the best one-loss team. Say what you want to say. But Georgia, Washington, a team that's riding a 20, at this time right here, it'll probably be 29-game winning streak. Washington. Think about that. So right now, I feel, and I'm not being biased, Alabama is the best one-loss team right now. Alabama is the best one-loss team. When it comes down to strength of schedule, they lost their one game, the second game of the season against Texas. Texas just lost their one game 2 or 3 weeks ago. Same thing with Oregon. Oregon just lost their one game. Alabama lost their second game of the season. They've reeled off wins against Ole Miss, which Ole Miss just lost their second game against Georgia at Georgia. Tennessee flamed out, yes. And LSU been putting up video game numbers. So with that being said, and with the strength of schedule being number 2 for Alabama, I think Alabama is the clear best one-loss team in college football. It's really close between them and Oregon, but I think Alabama is the best one-loss team right now. And I know people are going to go against me for what I'm saying, but right now, this team, Alabama, is the best one-loss team. I'm putting them just slightly ahead of this Oregon Duck team and ahead of this Texas Longhorn team. And the reason why I'm putting against Texas, even though Texas beat Alabama the second game of the season, but Texas lost to Oklahoma. Oklahoma has lost to Oklahoma State, and they was blasted by a team they was clearly better than, which was UCF. And they have the number 5 strength of schedule right now. And if they get to the Big 12 title game, they won't be meeting against a top 10 team, most likely. Definitely won't be meeting the top 5 team. So with that being said, Alabama, if they can win out, will get in the college football playoff. I got a feeling this season, you will see, if Alabama can get past Georgia, you will see two SEC schools in the college football playoff, which will be Alabama and Georgia, because I don't think nothing can knock Georgia out of there. one loss, I don't think it's gonna knock Georgia out. Okay, say Washington go undefeated. I think Washington beats Oregon. I mean, I think Oregon beats Washington the second game of the year, second game of the season, the second time in the Pac-12 championship. I think Oregon will defeat Washington. If you got a one-loss Oregon, a one-loss Georgia, a one-loss Alabama, I just got a feeling that Alabama and Georgia will get in the college football playoff over a one-loss Oregon. That's just my opinion. But y'all let me know what y'all think. I just feel like this right here is what's going to happen. Alabama being the best one-loss team in my book. And then I'm going to put Oregon behind them. And then I'll put Texas behind them. But, man, y'all let me know what y'all think. Thank y'all again for listening to another great segment of the Real Untouchable Podcast. Make sure y'all hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the share button so y'all can be notified when I go live with these videos. Hey, man, thank y'all again for listening to another great segment of the Real Untouchable Podcast with me, Ray Diggs. Hey, peace and love, man. Y'all have a great Monday, y'all. Peace.